If I said Daniel Jones is going to start every game for the Colts this season, is that an overreaction?
It is an overreaction. Look, the Anthony Richardson injury opens the door for Daniel Jones to take this job and run with it. But Daniel Jones played in the league 6 years. He's missed games due to injury in at least 4 of them. And I think, Anthony Richardson, if he can get healthy, might have an opportunity to take this job back. And if not, I think the Colts may need to go and add someone else just to protect against 2 guys that have injury history.
Bart doesn't even need to speak. He just responds. His entire reaction, his facial reaction. Let me do 2 seconds on this one stick. Daniel Jones, you're all in on Daniel.
Yeah, I think Danny Dimes can end up having a Sam Darnold type of year, a bounce back. He's never been in an environment. The environment matters. He's never had a running back like Taylor. Well, he had Saquon, but they did have an offensive line. He has 2 outstanding number 1 receivers on the outside.
Is Danny Dimes the next Sam Darnold? Super quick.
I don't know if, like, Minnesota, like we compare Indy to Minnesota, that's a tall task.
Who's the Justin Jefferson?
You got to figure that part out. All right, one more. Let's get to the last one because this is the interesting one. If I said Aaron Rodgers makes the Steelers instant contenders, is that overreaction?
Yes. He didn't make the Jets instant contenders, not to bring up a sore subject, but yes, it's an overreaction. He's 41, going to be 42 by the end of the year, and this is not a team that was like plug-in quarterback and now you have a contender. They have question marks on the offensive line. They have one receiver who's averaged 73 catches a year in his NFL career. They have a defense that's average age is like 28, 29, probably one of the older defenses in the league. By the way, we're having the exact same problem right now with T.J. Watt that the Bengals are having with Trey Hendrickson, and nobody's getting on their case about it. I think Pittsburgh could be in for a rough one.
Okay, so it's an interesting little scenario here. Let's live in a world where this doesn't go well. I'm on record as saying I think it's going to go well. But if it doesn't, here's the question of the day. Who needs this more? Who needs this year to go well more? In any way you want to take this question, Mike Tomlin or Aaron Rodgers?
I think it's Mike Tomlin because Mike Tomlin's been there 18 years. He hasn't won a playoff game in 8 seasons, and it's getting stale. You talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, we think about continuity and consistency. You think about Bill Cowher being there for, I believe, 15 seasons, Chuck Noll being there for 23. He's been there 18. Sometimes you just need a change. It can be good for both sides if this season doesn't go well. The Kenny Pickett thing is what comes back to haunt them, that trying to replace a Hall of Fame quarterback is tough to do.
Who needs this more, Tomlin or Rodgers? D. Wood?
Tomlin. Listen, I'm not sitting here and going to expect a 41 that's going to be a 42-year-old quarterback during the season to all of a sudden put this Pittsburgh Steelers team on his back and get them to the level of the Kansas Cities, the Buffalo, the Baltimores. No, I'm going to the guy that has raved about, talk about the standard is the standard. What in the world is the standard in Pittsburgh right now? Because the damn show is not winning playoff games. Mm-hmm. That's where we're at with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016. That's a long time for a storied franchise like the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What do you think, Dan?
Well, I think Tomlin, Tomlin's not like on the hot seat, right? It's Pittsburgh. They don't fire coaches. Now, if they get to a point with Tomlin at some point, whether it's next offseason or sometime in the future where it's time to go their separate ways, I think, he probably has some say in that as well. But, to your point, what are the Pittsburgh Steelers under Mike Tomlin? They are a team that wins at least as many games every year as its talent dictates it should. He gets the most out of the rosters he had. Now, they haven't had postseason success. So you can make the question becomes, are they good enough? Like the team he got to the playoffs last year had no business beating the Buffalo Bills in the first round. That was a mismatch. So are they going to be good enough roster-wise for a Mike Tomlin coached team to get the most out of an already good roster versus getting something good out of a mediocre roster, which I think is what he's been doing the last few years?
See, it's an interesting question to me because I think for both people involved, their legacies are relatively secure. Right? Tomlin, no one is going to say Tomlin. The local fans are a little weary or restless when it comes to Tomlin, but generally speaking, he's extremely high regarded. That won't change. Rodgers is a first ballot Hall of Famer. That won't change. But as far as what I think the immediacy of this all is, everything was on Rodgers' plate with the Jets. When that didn't go well, even the things that weren't his fault got blamed on him. I think now it's the opposite. I think everything is on Tomlin's plate. Everyone figures if this doesn't go well, I think it more reflects on him than it reflects on Rodgers.
Which is why I believe they took this risk with Aaron Rodgers, knowing what comes with them, because they know how important it is for them just to see that they can get a postseason victory. Now, last year, 10-7, getting to the playoffs, you add a player like Aaron Rodgers, you have a shot. I think a playoff win kind of makes Tomlin secure.
They're going to win a lot of games. I'm telling you right now, I think
they always
better than people think. Let me run the bases, though, because I got a text from
5 teams will have mandatory minicamp this week. 2 of those being Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. That's where we find our ESPN senior NFL reporter, Jeremy Fowler, joins us now. Lamar Jackson expected at Ravens minicamp this week. What's the significance of this upcoming stretch prior to the start of the season?
Well, Amina, one of the best offenses in the NFL can kick off in earnest. The minicamp, Lamar Jackson will be there with Derrick Henry, who just signed a recent contract extension, so they're going to get that running game in order next week in Baltimore. And also, Lamar Jackson has gotten a lot of freedom from his coaches in the last 2 years with OC Todd Monken coming in, so they're going to really build on that, give him even more and more command of what happens at the line of scrimmage. And then also, GM Eric DeCosta said publicly that they have entered early contract talks with Lamar Jackson about a possible extension. The sense here around the league is that Baltimore could follow the blueprint that Buffalo put together back in March when they extended Josh Allen. Even though he had multiple years left on his contract, the feeling is get ahead of that huge quarterback market money in 3 or 4 years from now. Just pay your guy now when he's got multiple years left on his current deal.
Yeah, well, let's stay in the AFC and talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are expecting to see Travis Kelce at minicamp. This after he missed OTAs. What differences should we expect to see from Kelce on the field this year?
Well, Kelce will show up to minicamp in what's considered a slimmed-down version. I'm told that he's gotten in great shape this offseason. Last year probably played a little heavier than he had in the past, and so he had vowed to change that, and I'm told that he has in a big way. Just talking to people close to him, they said that he has slimmed down and gotten in great shape, and so this could be his final year. He's in the last year of his contract. He's in his mid-30s, certainly a Hall of Fame career, and he wants to potentially end it on the highest note possible.
Yeah, despite all the chatter last season, Kelce still had 97 receptions last year, his 7th straight season with at least 90 catches. And Jeremy Fowler with the latest. Also, happy Father's Day, Jeremy.
Thank you, Amina.
Nha. Đây, full 3 màu xinh chưa? Bây giờ mình đổi sang cái màu sắc tiếp theo, màu cùng từ 4. Đấy, đậm sang nhà dần. Đây là màu này nhé. Bây giờ mình sẽ không nổi ra. Không nổi ra. Mình vẫn sẽ sử dụng những cái mũi đơn nhé, mình mắc những mũi đơn